So before you start the Twixtor, just make sure you disable the audio from your clips. Okay, so for the first method, you're gonna start by pre-compassing the clip. You can do that by pressing Ctrl plus Shift plus C. Then rename the composition and make sure those two are checked and press OK. Now we need to keep all the compositions at the same frame rate, so let's change the one we just made to 30 FPS. Follow what I do. Now look at the last two digits here and add to this number 4 or 5, doesn't really matter, but make sure the number is higher. Then we need to close this gap, so just shorten the composition to the end of the clip. Right click here and choose Trim Comp to Work Area. Now for the actual Twixtor. Press Ctrl plus Alt plus T to bring up the time remap. Or just right click on the clip and go to time, then select Enable Time Remapping. Now we need to eliminate the dead frames. So just keyframe the frames where the character is moving. And a little warning, make sure you are keyframing the character movement and not the camera movement. And when you're done, bring the keyframes next to each other's. If you did it correctly, every frame should have another keyframe. Now go to where you want your clip to end and press Ctrl plus Shift plus D to cut it and press Delete to remove the extra bit. Now add Twixtor Pro to your clip and copy my settings. So this number should be the same as the composition's frame rate. And this option is set to Contrast Edge Enhance. And the frame interp is set to Motion Weighted Blend. Now for the warping, I switch between those two depending on how much warps I'm getting, but I will go with inverse with Smart Blend this time. And set the main background sensitivity to 100. Finally, we need to keyframe the speed, so I'm gonna take 110 speed for the beginning and ending of the clip, but you can take other values depending on your clip, for example 120 or 150. And then go to the middle of your clip and make the speed 10 or any low value. Then if we press O to go to the end of the clip, we will see that it's an empty frame and we can't have that, so we'll fix it using the graph editor. So select your keyframes and press F9, or just right click any keyframe, go to Keyframe Assistant and select Easy Ease. Then select your keyframes again and go to Graph Editor and make sure it's set to the value graph. Now copy my graph. The handles on the bottom, just drag each one to the max, and the ones on top just bring them inwards a bit. So if you get an empty frame like this while adjusting the graph, just bring the handle you were using a bit back and it will be fixed. Now let's preview what we've done so far. Pretty clean in my opinion. So yeah, that was the first method. Now let me show you the second one. So the second method is mostly used for when the character is not really moving, but only his hair, his clothes or mouth are moving. So to start, you need to pre-compose like in the first method and make the frame rate the same as the main composition. But in this method you don't need to remove the dead frames, so start by adding Twixtor Pro to your clip and use the same settings as before, but the only thing we're gonna change this time is the frame rate. So for the frame rate, we're gonna try any number from 7 to 12 and see which one is the smoothest, because every clip is different and needs another value. For example, here 8 works best, so I'll use it. And now we're pretty much done with our Twixtor. Hope this helped you guys. I love you all.